important thing in our family.
Okay, we're on our way.
Kalimata!
We got a new bus captain here.
You'll realize that Bill and Kim are not here. Kim is not sick, she's just tired and she's going to rest, which she should do. Bill is getting better.
Yay!
He wants to be well for the cruise. Hello?
Which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Forever. Amen.
Wow, y'all sound so good!
Amen.
Thank you, Nick. That was awesome.
You know why I am not going to come. That's the arrangement always between the ship line and the travel companies, because there are island guides and we don't want to take their tours. And Labor Day together. Special day. May Day and Labor Day. So today we say Καλό μήνα. Have a good month. Good month. Καλό μήνα. It's the 1st of May. Tall ancient pillars, which we will see in just a minute or two, or no, in 10 minutes or so, a little better. But this area on our right is the area where the temple to Olympian Zeus in Athens is located. And kindly take a look to the right, all of you now, to see the marble arch
Look
that's
here.
coming
Yeah, I
up
see
on
it.
our right next to us here. I know the sun is in the wrong place, but this is a very famous landmark in Athens, just next to us to the right, the Arch of Hadrian, the Roman Emperor. The marble arch is known as Hadrian's Arch, and this is just the first view of the city. This is one of the rescue excavations, and as soon as the coach in front of us will move, we're going to move also. And they decided that it was important because it's a Roman period public bath. Take a look to the right now to see the second room, where you see the small columns made of bricks, clay bricks, which are the little columns that support the floor. Every time we excavate a public bath, we expect to find these little columns. Sometimes they're round, sometimes they're square. Constitution Square, or Syntagma. The plaza itself is on our left-hand side, and you see there some people have already started to gather, to get together for the march that will take place later to celebrate Labor Day. And on our right-hand side, as we speak, we have the House of Parliament of Greece. We'll show you exactly where they drop off the people and they come back later to pick them up. Royal Palace, where our kings and queens used to reside, but we don't have kings and queens anymore in Greece. Since 1974, Greece has been a presidential parliamentary republic. It's in the hands of the premier, the prime minister, who is elected by the people every 4 years. So in front of the Parliament building, I hope you're able to take a look to the right and behind, a little back a little. You see there's a marble tree. There's not real tomb there, of
Tomb of
course.
the unknown
it's a
soldier.
cenotaph, an empty tomb, in honor of all the soldiers, Greek and not Greek, who were killed in action during the history of man. And this is why we call it the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And in front of it we see the blue and white kiosks of the National Guards with their traditional uniforms and pleated skirts and tights.
Yeah, I think Scott and Lauren have pictures of that.
Must be on the half hours or
This
something.
is not the changing of the guards, ladies
It's exactly
and gentlemen. We happen
9:30.
to be here for the changing of the guards. Believe me, we would have let you out and we would have given you the opportunity to watch it. They are just taking a few steps to stretch the legs.
1.5 hours.
This is not the changing. The changing takes place
Stretching
every
is-
hour on
is
the
it?
hour. So every hour
This is the
on
half-hour
hour,
routine.
The change of the guards takes place. Take a look at this beautiful mansion,
Oh my.
which is nowadays the Coin Museum in Athens, the numismatic museum, built by. It was built for
Roman
our
Catholic
first
Church.
king in Greece back in the early 19th century. Classical buildings in Athens. All of these historical buildings of neoclassical architecture go back to the early 19th century, ladies and gentlemen. And this first one is the Academy of Greece. And of course, you can see the impressive statues of Apollo with his lyra on the right-hand side column, and Athena in full armor, the goddess of the city, on the left-hand side. And notice also the little statues in the triangular pediment above the columns. Now you can clearly see what a frieze is and what a pediment is when we look at these neoclassical buildings, which are imitations and replicas of the ancient classical buildings. This is the University of Athens, the largest in the country, but this is not all of the university, of course. This is just the administrative building of the university, where the seat of the dean is and all the offices of the professors. European capital. So if you want, take a look to the right now to see our National Library with more than 12 million books and manuscripts and old editions. There are treasures, real treasures hidden in the rooms of our National Library, and you see how impressive it is, like all these other neoclassical buildings that were all designed.
Riot police are standing by for any protests today.
Thousands of people moved to Athens
Even more
because
police
it was,
ready to
in
go.
a way, the fashion in those years, in those decades, and replaced by tall apartments, tall cement apartment buildings, which could house more people. So, because of the increase of the population, many, unfortunately, of the old homes were demolished and replaced by apartment buildings. Parliament of Greece, and it was used as the parliament in the years when the present-day parliament, here it is now on your right, was still the royal palace. So this is where the Parliament of Greece used to meet back in the 19th or early 20th century, and the statue of the general on his horse in front of the old parliament is showing Theodore Kolokotronis, the most important Greek general during the War for Independence against the Ottomans. So nowadays, the old parliament building, which we're now leaving behind us, is a historical museum, ladies and gentlemen. Constitution Square, and we'll see the southern end of Constitution Square, and I'm going to point out to you something that you will all recognize, the golden arches in Constitution Square. Constitution Square, the Parliament building, you can see from a distance now on
So
our
already
left-hand
somebody
side,
giving a speech.
on the northern end of the square. And here, on our right-hand side, look at the McDonald's of Constitution
Yay.
Square. Right here, at this corner, on our right-hand side.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see the golden arches? This is the just behind us now, on the right, driving slowly, but I want to make sure all of you see the tops of the columns of Olympian Zeus's temple. You see here in the center of Athens, the distances are very small. There's a lot to say, and there's not enough time to explain everything in full detail every time. Here comes the tram on our left-hand side. This is what we call the tram, which is very popular in Europe. You may know this already if you have traveled in Europe before. And it goes to Constitution Square or Syntagma. So on our right-hand side now, wherever there is a gap, like here, between the trees, you see the impressive tall columns of Olympian Zeus's temple, which used to be the largest temple in Athens, larger even than the Parthenon. Most of it was carried away and recycled, and that's why out of the 104 columns that the Temple of Zeus used to have, nowadays we have only 15 that are still standing. On our right hand side, coming up, we have the beautiful marble stadium, which is known as the Kali Marmaro Stadium. The stadium, in other words, made of beautiful marble, good marble. You know Kali by now from Kalimera, Kalispera. Kali is good, nice, beautiful. So Marmaro is marble. Kali Marmaro, the good marble stadium. And this is a stadium that was originally laid out. We're going to park here and give you a chance to get off the coach, ladies and gentlemen. What is it for? The archery and the finishing of the marathon run. So we had two of our events in 2004 in this stadium, which can seat 69,000 people.
Wow.
It's larger than it looks when you see it from here. 69,000 people is the capacity. And now we left this stop.
St. Luke people. They had the first modern Olympics here in the late 1800s, and then they had the 2004 Olympics here, the archery, and the end of the marathon ended here.
They encourage people. They're doing a summer photo thing. Would you do the honors
Sure.
for us?
Sure.
Right. Yeah. Over, yeah.
They can't do it here. We did it to the Germans.
Go ahead.
As I explained to those of you who came and asked why are they
This is
closed,
a parade route.
this is hopefully that one will be open. And again, you'll have to give a 50 cent note, coin, and use that bathroom if it is open between 6:30 and 7:30 or 6:45 and 7:30. After the dinner, you can meet with Patricia in the room that she has made arrangements for.
There's the
After
stadium
the
again.
cruise meeting. Okay. The dining room opens at 6:30 anyway, and they will be when you will go to meet Paul in the lobby, because we're going to use them at Mars Hill now, the next place we're going to. So you'll give them to Paul tonight at 6 o'clock this evening at 6, and he has the, based on our experience, the decision we made with Aris to start with the bus tour was, I can see, correct, because we were able to drive to see Constitution Square and the other
with
places
flags.
before they closed
think this
the
train
street. So
brings
from
it
now
down
on,
from the
people
hill.
have access to, we passed earlier
Hadrian's Arch.
on our way to Syntagma or Constitution Square. Tour buses waiting in line. This is exactly the area where later, after our visit to the Areopagus, after the walk in the Placa and the first hill. You can do something like that. Or you can go back to the hotel, and right
This
after
is the
this large
Acropolis
building,
Museum.
if you will look up to the right, you will see the Acropolis Hill. And on Monday, we will not see it from here, from the city. We'll be up there. We'll climb up to the top of that impressive rock, which is 510 feet tall.
Yeah. Okay, we're at the foot of the Acropolis, Mars Hill. We're gonna have a little bit of a tour, but we're not going all the way up because, believe it or not, it's 500 feet up to the top. It doesn't look like it, but it is. So we're gonna do that on Monday.
You'll see that you cannot see that bush there, but
Spiders, yeah.
Yeah, they don't use those.
These are the leaves that have inspired the Corinthian capitals on the columns. These inspired the Corinthian column capitals.
Hello, Mama. Hello. Hello, Mama. Hello. No problem. No problem. Angelina. No, I can't hold it. Hello, Mama.
Reformers of Athens slowly and gradually stripped the council of many of its powers and authorities. So in Paul's time, this council was responsible only for matters of ethics and customs.
Okay, so we are in Acts chapter 17, and the address begins in verse 20.
Acts 17:20.
Word of the Lord. So Paul, standing in the midst of the Areopagus, said, "Men of Athens, I perceive that in every way you are very religious. For as I passed every way, you are very religious. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, I found also an altar with this inscription, to the unknown God. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I proclaim to you. The God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in temples made by men, nor is he served by human hands, as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything. And he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, that they should seek God in the hope that they might feel their way toward him and find him, yet he is actually not far from each one of us. For, quote, in him we live and move and have our being. As even some of you own poets have said, for we are indeed his offspring. Being then God's offspring, we ought not to think that the divine being is like gold or silver or stone, an image formed by the art and imagination of man. The times of ignorance God overlooked, but now he commands all people everywhere to repent, because he has fixed a day in which he will judge the world in righteousness by a man whom he has appointed, and of this he has given assurance to all by raising him from the dead. Now when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, some mocked, but others said, we will hear you again about this. So Paul went out from their midst, but some men joined him and believed, among whom also was Dionysius, the Areopagus, and a woman named Damaris, and others with them. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God. Walking literally in the footsteps of St. Paul.
Raise your back, that spot on 40, you're good.
Jolene, yes, okay. That's cool.
Very slippery to the...
Okay, so we are in Acts chapter 17, and the address begins in verse 20.
Acts 17:20.
Word of the Lord. So Paul, standing in the midst of the Areopagus, said, Men of Athens, I perceive that in every way you are very religious. For as I passed every way, you are very religious. For as I passed along and observed the objects of your worship, I found also an altar with this inscription, To the unknown God. What therefore you worship as unknown, this I proclaim to you. The God who made the world and everything in it, being Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in temples made by men, nor is he served by human hands, as though he needed anything, since he himself gives to all mankind life and breath and everything. And he made from one man every nation of mankind who live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their dwelling place, that they should seek God in the hope that they might feel their way toward him and find him, yet he is actually not far from each one of us. For, quote, in him we live and move and have our being. As even some of you own poets have said, for we are indeed his offspring. Being then God's offspring, we ought not to think that the divine being is like gold or silver or stone, an image formed by the art and imagination of man. The times of ignorance God overlooked, but now he commands all people everywhere to repent, because he has fixed a day in which he will judge the world in righteousness by a man whom he has appointed, and of this he has given assurance to all by raising him from the dead. Now when they heard of the resurrection of the dead, some mocked, but others said, we will hear you again about this. So Paul went out from their midst, but some men joined him and believed, among whom also was Dionysius, the Areopagus, and a woman named Damaris, and others with them. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
It's all good. We're here. We're here.
We made it. And you can see all around from here. Now when we go up to the Acropolis on Monday, of course we'll be able to see more. That's the tallest hill over there, but there was no water So they had to build the Acropolis on the second tallest hill to get access to water.
How about this? Is this yours? Okay. The fire and weapons, correct. So we're gonna walk on the other side as well, so you see the Parthenon, but it's a miniature side. And also it is exactly the same as the temple of Poseidon in Sumer.
So that's an excavation where American archaeologists are involved, and many of the fans come from the United States for this excavation. So on the right hand side we see the long gallery which has been restored, which is now the Agora. And on the other end of the Agora, on the left hand side, that's amazing, ladies and gentlemen, because that temple was built in the 5th century before Christ, and a part of the original roof is still there, still preserved. And the reason for this is that that temple was continually used. It was the temple of Hephaestus or Vulcan in antiquity, the god of metal and metalworking and fire. It was the center of the administration of the city. The council house where the parliament of those times used to meet would be there, the courthouses.
The Agora. This story of St. Paul is recorded on this plaque here at the base of the rock.
They would never allow people to walk around up there.
Every time they made a decision,
The ambulance stations handing out cards.
Actually, might know somebody.
She didn't like it.
If you can hear me,
Can't please everybody. She wants her mom.
Yeah, we are. Laura.
Several.
Vincent.
Hey, Debbie is an explorer. She loves to explore.
Yeah.
I'd be looking for
That's not enough.
I think Nick's still up there.
He's coming. He's on.
Oh, is it coming now? Oh, right.
Get a little more.
with his body.
Right, yeah. It's and move and have our being. So the song goes like this. In him we live and move and have our being. Sorry, I started too high. I'm sorry. In him we live and move and have our being. In him we live and move and have our being. Make a joyful noise, singing to the Lord. Tell him of your love, dance
Let's be before him, make a joyful noise, singing to the Lord. Tell him of your love. Hallelujah. And move and have our being. Perfect. Wow.
Easy 7777. Hi, Easy 7777.
5-1. Number 9 in the Asian culture.
This must be a lucky date or something because they're literally lined up to get married.
She said, yeah.
7888.
888. Does that maybe mean our lease vehicle?
That's lucky numbers. 8888. Yeah.
Sometimes it's I just want to call
She's talking about they make one impress. She's been wearing it. We want to replace That's true.
Yeah.
Go in and look. Oh yeah, let's go look. Yeah, you're morally obligated. No big deal. Just go look.
Oh, now I see why they're going in.
They're both inside.
Oh, okay.
And if for some reason we don't say anything you really like and want, I guess maybe on the islands I will have similar things. The thing with the islands is that the only one where you really have while the women shop, the men are relaxing and they're looking at the birds up top. Here's a better view of the Acropolis Museum. It's closed today because of the holiday, but it's literally across the street there from the Acropolis, appropriately.
We have our bus and ours to the hotel. The bus will come to pick us up.
This is the beginning of the placa.
You agree? Yeah, we agree. Are we all okay with the meeting time at the end of the street? Right on the main road across the street? From the very first moment, you will see a number of lovely places and shops where you want to stop and take a look at the stars. Go on walking, but if you like to stop and drop off in a way, excuse me, let us know.
Can't believe nobody stopped there. That takes people up to the Acropolis and down from the Acropolis, the people that don't want to walk.
Pretty long street, it goes right through the plaza from one end to the other. And for those who wanted to go to the Monastiraki area, you go
gypsy kids. They better be careful.
Okay. Call the line.
Nice flowers, starting with primroses.
Sell it anymore, and I guess she doesn't remember anybody else that sells it. So
We've already eaten a lot of it, but we had like a full plate of garlic paste, and it's very good on bread.
I've never heard of it before,
So, and yeah, a lot of garlic gave its life for that garlic paste. This is where we had lunch. And there's some other St. Lucas over there. Same restaurant, I believe. And knockoff Beats headphones. I just noticed something. Is this all marble? We've heard streets of gold. Well, this is streets of marble. Wow.
Amazing, huh?
Yeah. Once you get away from the retail madness, you discover streets like this, more residential, very, very nice. Well, apparently the Labor Day festivities or march or whatever it was peaceful. Looks like everything's wrapped up with no violence. Maybe a few pieces of fresh graffiti, whatever this means. But anyway, overall, pretty much unscathed. Nice citrus tree here. In front of the government building. Here's a close-up. One fell off the tree. Feels like an orange. Motorcycles and scooters everywhere. Some more. There's Mickey D's across the street. We picked the perfect time of year to come. Weather is perfect. Have the double-decker buses here too. Other than that,
I heard somebody speaking on speaker, but they could have been saying anything. Come on down, 2 hamburgers for €5.
Every
Every day.
wow.
I always thought of you as sunshine anyway.
Well, hopefully this tourism is helping the Greek economy. odd that he's working today. That's really a non-essential. Here comes our bus. You guys made it with seconds to spare.
Yep.
Seconds to spare. Seconds to spare.
A prequel or a sequel to Mamma Mia? Okay, You Love Your Mother. Oh, okay. See that.
We thought
if you love Mamma Mia.
If you love your Mamma Mia.
The movie and pray.
well, I'm up on the roof of our hotel. Across the street, they're building some kind of big new project. Don't know quite what to make of it, but they got a lot of cranes and everything. Then there's a big building there. And buildings there. And then here's my yacht, so I think it can fit our whole group on there comfortably. I think it's got like 20 bedrooms. Anyway, got a lot of ships out in the harbor, all lined up. And we walk down to this area here, just to the left of this stadium. That was the stadium for the 2004 Olympics for wrestling. And we walked past this Jumbo store last night on the way there. And I'll get a shot from another angle where maybe we can see the marina we were at. Here's another view. And they got a nice terrace here at the hotel. Very nice hotel. And the pool. Oh darn, can't use the pool. But we can use it as a trampoline, I guess. But anyway, let me see if I can get another angle. Okay, somewhere in this area here is where we walked to last night. There's a marina in this area. And we walked all the way down there and back. Probably about 3 miles altogether. And we had a nice time. And oh, there's a doggy on that roof. He's guarding the roof. And anyway, here's a shot of residential Athens. There's the sea right there. And I'll do a sweeping shot of residential Athens as seen from the roof of our hotel. Well, I hope I'm looking at the right thing, but I think I see the Acropolis. It's on one of those hills there. It's hard to tell. But we're about 3 miles from the Acropolis. Okay, I'm zoomed in all the way. And I can't tell what's what, but anyway. This is the view from the top of our hotel. I'll get a couple more views. Actually, I think that's about it. Here's an exterior view of our hotel from the top floor. And they have a nice dining area there. You can have drinks out by the fountains. And there's Sandra and her aunt. And they're doing the same thing pretty much that I'm doing. They're looking around. I don't think they're taking pictures, but they're looking around. Because it is neat up here. This must be an auxiliary kitchen for when this is in season to be up here. But anyway, hopefully Athens is on the way back. They've had tough times. And so we shall see. Here's a nice view of the Acropolis, I believe. Yeah, the Acropolis is on the second highest hill because the first highest hill has no water on it. So they built it on the second highest hill. And here's a sweeping shot of the remaining corner that I haven't shown yet.
Be able to park in those spots.
Yeah, I don't.
It's interesting looking, isn't it?
It is interesting.
Royal Plaza Building Workshop.
Okay.
Second line. Second thing is in English. It's saying Rosso Building Workshop.
It's a workshop?
Yeah. The water's right there.
Yep.
It's always going to be there, Sandra.
This sign explains things, but we're gonna have Liberty translate it for us. And I'm gonna zoom in just in case it shows what it's gonna be. Can't make it out on my little viewfinder. And then I'm gonna go over here and it's got another perspective. So who knows, but well, maybe it's providing some jobs, helping the economy. They need that. Yeah, they're all looking at the Acropolis. It's got this hotel has an Acropolis view, folks. They can put that in their brochure. This building next door has a fence around it, and most of the windows closed. We're thinking it's an embassy or a government building. It does have a flag from Greece, and then another flag, I think dated 1954. But anyway, looks like a couple domes in the back. And then let me see what this truck says. Having a hard time with the zoom and the wind. But anyway, we're gonna go on down.